Alright, Nick. Imagine to me, real quick, you have kind of a series of games based off a certain type of gameplay mechanic. Say the series of games takes place on, an alien planet where you fight ginormous monsters with mechs with guns, and sometimes, and you're third person. Every monster you fight is just bigger than you in every aspect, and some of them are really tough to kill, and it really takes a lot of strategy. You have about 2 games in the series doing this, and then you get to the third game, and it does none of it. What would you think about that?
I would think you're talking about Dead Space.
Close. I'm actually talking about, you got Dead Space 3, or as I like to call it, Lost Planet 3, because when I saw those trailers back to back when they released them, they were exactly the same fucking game. Oh, icy planet with monsters that have orange spots on it. But I'm going to tell you this right now. Dead Space 3 was a better Lost Planet game than Lost Planet 3. Because at least Dead Space 3, it actually had more of the, oh shit, how am I going to defeat this monster than, this is super easy, I'm just going to win. Yeah, by the way, folks, it's me and Nikki G again with your typical reviewing crew. We're talking about Lost Planet 3.
It's developed by Spark Unlimited, published by Capcom.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I think we should start doing that now. What you exactly just did there. Telling people who developed it, where it was published, Now, I don't know, you're on the wiki right now, Colin, because you didn't play this game, of course. I say, of course, as if everyone's like, oh, well, yep, Nikki doesn't play video games. No. You didn't play this game.
No, I did not.
Are the developers, the people who developed this, are they the same ones who've been making all of them? Because I honestly don't know.
Yeah.
Are they? They made Lost Planet 2 and 1, or 1?
Well, it says they've made Lost Planet 2 and Lost Planet Extreme Condition, but I'm not sure if that is the first one.
That is one.
Okay, so yes.
They technically, Lost Planet Extreme Conditions was kind of like 1.5, where it's just one with multiplayer. But anyways, yeah. So they made it. And this one is a prequel to those two, because in the Lost Planet 1, you terraform the planet. And, yes, minor spoilers for a game that came out in 2005 or 6. So eat it. It's over 6 years old. So, yeah, they terraform the planet, they melt all the ice, so then Lost Planet 2 takes place on the terraformed planet with trees and all that, where you have different environments, which I thought was cool. Well, Lost Planet 3 kind of starts over, and they're kind of... Honestly, you couldn't tell. By playing Lost Planet 3, you could not tell that this was a prequel or not. You're just like... You would be confused. You'd be like, so is the snow back on this planet? Who is this company? You have no idea what's going on. They just throw you right in the middle, and, you have your main character. It shows you starts out in the middle, or starts out with your character. He gets pinned like 127 days later, type pinned. Rocks on his leg, and his granddaughter's there, and he's like, "Oh, I must tell you the entire story of how we've come to this position." First of all, I have to say, I want to do the synopsis the way me and Nick did it in our bloody time. All right, so Nicolas Cage joins up with these apparently space engineers. Yeah, he's an engineer, folks. Space engineers, and he basically just works. He has his rig that has no guns, and this guy even sounds like Nicolas Cage. I'm not even gonna lie.
He does.
Yeah, he sounds like him. He looks like him. Yeah, Nicolas Cage does that, and he goes, and it's playing an engineer the game. And you occasionally get to fight monsters, because otherwise it wouldn't be a very intuitive game. But this is one of those games. Okay, so I put you people have heard the Splinter Cell Blacklist review, where I kind of mess up, getting mixed up about, oh, they don't tell you anything about the missions. I say that on accident, and I was like, oh, because I was playing this game at the time. This is the game where they don't tell you. Sometimes they don't tell you dick about the missions. Sometimes you're just like, go to this objective. You're like, wait, why am I doing this? Why am I risking my life to do this? And talk about a guy who just, he does not he's supposed to be, okay, Nicolas Cage is supposed to be this guy, he's the typical guy. He's going for this company. This is almost Avatar. This is almost the plot to Avatar, Nick. This guy, he goes to another planet because he needs work to take care of his family. I mean, that's not part of Avatar. But then he meets up with these stranded people, and he starts kind of siding with them, and then eventually has to fight the company. That's the entire plot of this game, people. And I'm not spoiling anything, because if you didn't know what was going to happen, you probably, this is your first video game you've ever played. So that's the entirety of the story. And, it kind of pisses me off, because the whole time, it keeps cutting back to old Ezio-looking guy, who's just Nicolas Cage as an old man, talking to his granddaughter, saying how it's like, you think there's this big old mystery that's going to happen. No. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I don't know what the hell he's referencing. I don't know what's going on. So, yeah. Just skip all this. The story sucks ass. It literally... Nick, I was about to, I will assign some people, I assign Nick games, basically, because he's the only one that's available. Dustin's all the way down in Springs, and you just don't play games unless they're free.
Well, I just don't like to borrow, but basically.
You really have this thing against borrowing games, which is fine. Nick understands, he plays the games, tries to beat them. He didn't, he was on the Bloody Time with me, and he was a genius when he asked me about this game. He said, Brandon, how is Lost Planet 3? And I said, ugh. And right there, he didn't want to play. He's like, no, dude, I don't want to play this. And I have this thing in me where I try to beat most of the games I review. I really try my best. And I did beat this game. So let me just go with, alright, some of the things that, alright, first of all, Nicolas Cage, he's actually a likable guy. He's kind of a, he's your typical, engineer, kind of, he's kind of a guy you can get along with, have a beer with. I actually liked his character. He didn't really have any depth to him, but the attitude he has is kind of that sarcastic, snarky, kind of decent human being. A decent guy, and I respect that. I thought he was a better character than the other character you play, like in the first game. I barely played the second game. But in the first game, you play some androgynous, anime-looking thing. This game really is for American audiences, not the Japanese. He's a likable guy. It really feels like a Western, in a way, Nick. I don't know if you've seen gameplay to this at all, have you?
I've seen some of it, yes.
They actually play Western music. This almost kind of felt like a weird version of Firefly to me. Because they kept playing, in your rig, you have music that plays in your giant mech thing, and it's always that typical, kind of, not, I know I was kind of going to James Bond there, but, it really plays that Western type thing, which I was kind of digging that the whole time, and just yeah, I could dig this. I'm trying to, okay, one last good thing I could tell you about this before I get into every other thing that kind of annoyed the piss out of me. Alright, so, you're in this first person thing, which, I'll get into that later with your rig. The most fun I have is whenever you fight the medium-sized monsters, or alien, acrid as they're called. You fight them, and fighting them inside your rig can be kind of fun at times, because you have to you have to counter, and then you have this drill hand, you drill into them, and that, the first couple times you do that, it's really fucking satisfying. And then later on in the game, you fight other rigs inside your rig, and that's kind of cool, or one other rig inside your rig, and that's pretty fun. The rig combat, it could be fun at times. Now, I think I got everything I liked about this game out of the way. Alright, now it's time for me to it's time for Pissed Off Brandon to come in.
Someone open a window.
Okay, so this is not a Last Planet game at all. Alright, in the previous Last Planet games, when you get inside a mech, they're not rigs, they're mechs. They're these machines that have giant guns, and you can throw a Gatling gun, a rocket launcher, grenade launcher. You could get, I think even one of them, you could get a sword on it. Towards the end of the first one, you get one with a sword, a laser sword. It's fucking cool. You're also, you're fighting other mechs and stuff, and it's just it's so awesome. And it's in third person. This one, no, you're in you're in a mech, or a rig as they're calling them, that is meant for construction, which I was hoping in this game that eventually I'd get a giant machine gun at the end of it and be like, oh yeah, now I'm going to play like Lost Planet. And the mechs weren't slow moving like this thing is. This thing moves at the speed of fucking smell. Like this thing, oh my god, it's so annoying. And it's in first person, which also really is weird for a third person action game. The mech also cannot take a hit to save its life. It's pretty sad, Nick, that my character on foot, because sometimes you'll fight these medium-sized acrid on foot, you get hit by it. And I'm talking about on normal difficulty. This is how it's like. You get hit by it many times. Like, I would sometimes just get my ass thrown across the area. I don't take any damage. This is like the easiest fucking game in the world, Nick. On medium, and it has that whole bloody screen thing, because I did eventually, when I got overrun one time in the entire game where I started getting hurt, I never once died, but I got overrun. I actually started seeing damage. I'm like, oh, I do take damage. Because, alright, previous Lost Planets, you pick up the orange energy, and that would be your life. And it'd be slowly going down if you were outside in the elements. Which means, oh, these are actually an extreme planet to live on. You don't want to be out in the elements that long because your health is slowly going down because you're freezing to death. If you're inside a rig, of course, it's different. This game, nope. No, you're fine. You can be outside, it's fine. You don't even need to wear your hood. That's something me and Nick kept, joking about when you people see the Bloody Time. Of course, if you watch our Bloody Time, me and Nick making jokes about, dude, you're outside. I'll accept the fact you have a suit that keeps you warm, but it's not keeping your face warm because it's not covering your face. So what the hell? But anyways, yeah. So the combat is better than it was in the last game, but you don't fight giant acrid anymore. The majority of the acrid you fight are normal, like they're normal size, and they're just the next. You fight them in the previous games. I think they introduced one new one or a few new ones, but the other ones are bigger than you, but not bigger than your rig. That's the whole point. Some of the ones in the previous Lost Planet games, Nick, they were supposed to be huge. So even in you and your mech, you'd be like, oh, fuck me, how am I going to take this out? And they were a fight, and they were actually hard to fight. Not this one. This is so goddamn easy. Anything you want to add in as of right now?
Well, I mean, going over graphics from what I saw, I mean, it's kind of, I don't say completely low budget. I mean, it's not the worst thing I've seen, but
they're passable.
They're passable. For like engine wise, I mean, you can to give you guys an idea, these are the kind of enemies that once you kill them, they will disappear almost immediately. Oh, I mean, they have the kind of like little ones, they have the little alien guys, and you'll shoot them, they'll blow up, and they'll have little fluorescent neon colored blood, which is kind of cool. But then the bodies will just completely disappear. Like, they'll kind of go up in ash, basically. So it kind of gives you an idea of how their engine works.
Yeah, it really... Okay. Graphic-wise, alright, let me just put it this way, so... it's not bad looking. I actually didn't think the game was bad looking. It's good for this age, but it didn't blow me away. I have to say, it did better than... I understand I gave Splinter Cell Blacklist an A, but one thing that always drove me nuts about the game was the fucking lip sync was so goddamn off. Yeah, I know that's coming from us too, which sometimes we've had videos that we put out that had bad lip sync, but we're not talking about that. This game does not look bad. I mean, it's passable. It's rated teen, and that's the reason why I think they do what they do. This is like the enemy wise. Some of them do explode, like the typical enemies you fight in this game. Little crab, three-legged creatures. You fight a lot of those. You fight those. You fight the same, like a different version of those that spit shit. Then you also fight these tiger-like looking things, and then you fight giant roly-polies, and then you fight these giant, the big medium size, as big as your rig size, like crab-like things. And those are basically all the enemies. Oh, and these flying wasp things. Not as much variation, because see, with Lost Planet, at least the first one, you would know when you fought a boss acrid, because it would be a giant version of maybe a standard enemy you've been fighting, but it'd be a giant version of it, and tough to kill, and sometimes it would grow back into limbs, and you'd have to try to figure out how to kill it, and it'd be actual fight. This one, no, nothing grows back, they all kind of go out, they all go out. Literally, Nick, you upgrade your pistol once, you can actually use that pistol with unlimited ammo the entire game. You technically don't even need to use anything else. It just helps if you do. It just goes quicker if you use the other weapons. But you could get by. Like, honestly, just conserve ammo. When I'm fighting every other enemy except the medium, bigger size ones, I would just use my pistol. Because I'm like, well, why would I waste my ammo? Why? You die with one pistol shot anyways. What do I care? Yeah, so the enemies, they do leave the blood, which that blood you're talking about, Nick, that was your health in the last games. You'd want it. Like, the way you would continue to walk through these environments if you're on foot, because the game would make you be on foot sometimes, was to, either find these checkpoint things that regenerate your thing to give you like 2,000 of them, and they don't go back down quickly, they go down gradually, so they'll be like one, like every second you would lose one, so it wouldn't be something quick, but it would be going down. And the way you keep yourself alive a lot of the times would be, or help you out, would be to kill the acrid, because then you would take their blood and then you use that to keep yourself warm. And that was a novel idea, I thought. I was like, oh, okay, so killing them, actually serves a purpose. This one, it's money. And money you don't need. Because, fuck if you care. I mean, nothing, you can't be killed. What do you need it for? Shit. Let's see, yeah, the monsters, they're kind of like, let me see, the waypoint. They'd give you a waypoint at times, to figure out where the hell you're going. It would mess up on me. It would tell me, like, there was one time in the game, Nick, I was actually going back and forth, because the waypoint kept telling me to go down the stairs. I'd be like, oh, okay, they want me to go all the way off this edge, so I'd go off the edge, land, and then I would click the waypoint again, it tells me to go back up there. And it would just be fixated on this one point, until I realized, oh, I just gotta keep going forward, and then the waypoint eventually caught up with me. So waypoint was kind of shitty, the side missions are fucking pointless, and the game is boring as hell. This is one of the most boring games I'd rather play. I can't say that. Okay, I was gonna say, I actually had, it's only about like 6 to 7 hours long, but that's too long for this game. It just drags the fuck on. Oh my god, like it really, and so many of the missions are the same thing over and over. Nothing happens for a good 3/4 of this game until you get to the end. Until you get to the end, then you're like, oh, holy shit, things are happening now. And then what happens is okay. It's like, it's predictable as fuck. Oh, crap. Anything you want to ask me or add or anything like that? I feel like we just,
Nope, I think we just covered everything. I think you got some venting time there, so.
It's just, a wise man once said, a bad game can at least be something you'd be playing and be pissed off and be like, God, this game is so bad. A boring game lasts forever. It just drags on and on and on. And it's not hard, it's not fun, it's not, it's not bad, it's not good. They made, if someone would ask me, hey, how was Lost Planet 3? It's a video game. It hits every mark that a video game needs to hit, and it does nothing new, and does nothing terrible. And you know what? The biggest thing this does for me that kind of pisses me off is that they call it a Lost Planet game. This is not a Lost Planet game. This has nothing to do with the Lost Planet series. This has nothing to do with anything, except for the aliens are the same. This should have been if they want to do a reboot, they should have called it a reboot. But the fact they throw the 3 at the end of that really kind of drives me nuts, because I actually like the other games, because the other games actually have this form of survival to it. This game on the box, it says like, oh, survival is not enough. There's no surviving in this game. This is like a walk through the fucking park. So, I can't recommend anyone play this game. I am not surprised that no one knew this game was coming out. I'm just gonna give this, you make a mediocre game, you get a mediocre score. This game gets a D. It's really just a D. All I could say their partner is, if they make another Lost Planet game, for the love of Christ, do not make a sequel to this. Do not make it, dump everything you did in this game. Everything. Go back to the way it was. Or, better yet, don't make another Lost Planet game. That is it, everybody. Holy crap. If you would like to, give us your opinion on this and watch our videos without ads, please go to bloodyscreen.weebly.com. Show us some support by telling your friends if you liked us. Let me know what you think of Lost Planet 3, if this review was helpful or not. That is everybody. Good night.